What's up, guys? Thanks for joining in another video. Just wanted to do a follow-up on the previous video that we said. Remember, stay in your own lane, learn at your own pace. Don't feel discouraged if you're not understanding this immediately. It takes time, right? But the follow-up that I want to talk about today is going to be something that a lot of traders overlook, and it's going to be position sizing. Guys, you have no idea how important position sizing is when you are trading. A lot of times we try to focus on that one strategy, that special strategy is going to take me to the promised land. And I'm going to be honest with you, it does not exist. And it's quite funny because I'm always on Instagram and I always see these traders saying, hey, comment the word mentor. And I'm going to show you guys the one strategy that made me $10,000. Listen, I applaud you. I have nothing against that, but I'm here to keep it real and transparent. And there's a lot more that goes into it than just typing a word, you getting a link and thinking that's it, that's enough to get you to be profitable, right? There's a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot of studying and just different dynamics, right? So that's what I'm here to break down today as well. So guys, when it comes to position sizing, you need to feel comfortable. Trading as a whole already is a stressful job, if you can even call it a job, right? But it's stressful nonetheless. So we need to do things to kind of lower our stress. What can we do? Position our trades according to what we feel comfortable, or in this case, what you feel comfortable risking, okay? When you start sweating, you start fidgeting, you start biting your nails, at that point, you have over leveraged. And I know you know what I'm talking about because we've all been there, and I'm guilty of that as well. I've been in trades that I over leveraged, and I'm here, I take a step back and I'm sweating, I'm pacing back and forth, I'm going through it, and it's my fault for being in that situation, guys. So when you're trading, you should be cool, calm, and collected. If you're not, you over leveraged, you need to journal and go back to the drawing board and understand, hey, I put too much money, let me take a step back. So some tips that I can give you to really have good position sizing is going to be this. Number one, you need to recognize what market we're in. What I mean by that is, are we in a trending market? Are we in a bull market, a bear market? Is the market stagnant? Are we within a range? These things you have to keep track of, right? Because if the market's trending, then that gives you a little bit more confidence, or at least it does to me, right? Because I'm a trend trader. Another thing to keep in mind is it a short week? What I mean by that is it a holiday? Is the market closed sometime during that week? So for example, this week, the market's closed tomorrow. It might be on a Friday, might be on a Monday, but sometimes the markets do close early on in the week. That will affect price action a lot of times, something you need to keep in mind. What's something else to keep in mind? Well, you need to look out for news, data. For example, FOMC. FOMC is when the Federal Reserve meets and announces whether interest rates increase, decrease, or they just completely stay the same. So that's something else that will affect price action. In histories past, in times past, usually FOMC happens on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. when the decision is published. Now, that Monday and Tuesday, price action tends to be very slow. So what do? I size down. On Wednesday, I don't even trade FOMC because a lot of times I get faked out, price action is slow, it's not worth it. All these things that I'm telling you guys affect your position sizing. You see how important psychology and your mental is when it comes to trading? It all goes hand in hand with position sizing. So we talked about to be paying attention to what type of market we're in and to be paying attention to the data and the news that it's being released and when there's a holiday. If it falls on a week, recognize it. Now I want to talk about the importance of positioning yourself depending on the trade that you're taking, right? So when it comes to trading, not every trade is going to require the same amount of money, and not every trade is going to require you to hold the same amount of time, right? So let me break it down for you. Basically, the closer you get to expiration date, the more contracts you're going to move. Therefore, the less money you as a trader need to invest. It's really important you understand this because I have seen time and time again how many traders blow their accounts, and I raise my hand because I am one of them. I have probably blown about 7 accounts already because I think that I know what I'm doing and I lose it all. Granted, this was a long time ago. I haven't blown any more accounts, but it happened to me. So guys, it's a It's true. You will lose all your profits if you don't position yourself accordingly. So what's my advice for you? On top of recognizing everything we talked about already, understand when to go in heavy and when to go in light. How can you do that? Very simple. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, me personally, if I'm trading Friday expiration, I try to always size in appropriately. I'll go in a little bit heavier, right? I'm comfortable because I'm farther away from expiration. But Thursday, Friday, I size down because contracts move more. I don't need to have so much money invested, right? So the way I like to do it is I do 3 different types of entries. I'll do what's called a full position, does not require a reload. It's a 1 entry position, right? I can do a half and a half, which basically means I am sizing in for a potential reload or adding to that position if I need to, or I'll do a quarter position, which is going to be more of like a, higher risk. I'm not too confident, but the trade can still work. So I do those 3 different entries when I'm personally trading, okay? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if I really like the setup, I'll go in a full position if the setup requires it and merits it. If it doesn't, I'll go in half. And if it's a high risk, quarter position. So for example, in my personal case, if it's a full position for me, I'm going in with $8,000 to $10,000. If it's a half position, I'll do $3,000 to $5,000. And if it's a quarter position, $1,500 to $2,000. Maybe $2,200, but I don't risk more than that. That's what I've been doing, and it's been going great in terms of position sizing, right? When you position yourself accordingly, the losses aren't felt that much, and you will be able to be cool, calm, and collected, right? So to recap, guys, I don't want to make these videos too long, but that's my advice for you. Recognize what market we're in, recognize the data, recognize FOMC if it's there, recognize if it's a short week, and remember, not every day needs to be traded. This is not a 9 to 5 that on Friday you're gonna get a paycheck, right? It doesn't work like that. You need to be patient and wait for your setup. If it takes a couple days, so be it. You do what you feel most comfortable, and remember, there is no secret strategy that's gonna get you profitable. It takes trial and error. And even if you follow someone and you do what they do, it's still gonna be difficult, guys. I'm being transparent. I do this for a living. This is my actual job. And I can tell you, hands-on, it's not that simple. But it is possible, though, if done correctly. So hopefully you guys take this advice and it's gonna help. And I'll make a follow-up video on position sizing, but I wanted to just give you guys the truth behind position sizing. And then I'll go more into detail later on, maybe with like a little drawing board, just explaining exactly how you should position yourself depending on how much money you have. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. And like always, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.